I am so loving this stitch. It is the large eyelet rib stitch and I'm making an infinity scarf with it. For more information, visit the website or see the description below. But for this video, we're only going to work the stitch pattern and not a project, so there's no cast on or cast off. Alright guys, let's begin. We're going to start with 3 easy rows of knit stitches, but let me explain my setup. I have 2 knits here, then the pattern, and it is in sets of 2, and at the end I have another edge, which is another knit stitch. So these edges here and at the end, they're always going to be knit stitches no matter what, and they're just edges. This is the pattern right here that I want you to focus on. Alright, so let's start with these 3 rows of knit stitches, and again, these 2 here are my edges. So you're going to be doing whatever edge you want to do. I'm just doing real low profiles, so it's just 2 knit stitches. And then here I start the actual pattern. I'm using the Uwrap version of the knit stitch, which means I just half wrap and knit off and half wrap and knit off. And I get here to the end, and I'm going to turn around because I'm knitting flat, which means we're going to be going back and forth instead of going in a circle. So that was row 2, and here is my row 3, which again is all knit stitches, and now we go to row 4 and things change up a bit. We're now using 2 versions of the knit stitch, the Uwrap and the eWrap. And so this is my edge where I'll always do a Uwrap no matter what row I'm on, and then I start the stitch pattern here with another Uwrap. Every other peg at this point will be an eWrap on this row. So pay attention. In my case, I mark them with rubber bands. You can if you want to or not, but make sure you know where you put your eWraps. So here's my U where I half wrap the peg and knit off. And for my eWrap, I then completely wrap the peg and knit off. And then I go again to my next one, and this looks like a flat, but you know, it doesn't matter, flat or U is okay. But pay attention to where your eWraps need to go. So that was my eWrap because I fully wrapped my peg and I knit off. And then I'm going to do another knit stitch next. And they're called eWraps because the yarn creates like a cursive E when you wrap it, and that's an eWrap. I knit off and then I go. Now remember, this is multiples of 2. I think I did like 10 of them. You can do 8 or 12 or 24 or whatever number of sets, or in other words multiples of 2 you can do. So this is my last eWrap, and then I'm going to do my edge, which on my left side I put 2 knit stitches to even out and help the pattern balance and look well. Alright, that was row 4, and now let's continue. For row 5, we're going to do 1 yarn over, 1 knit 2 together. This sounds a lot more difficult than it actually is. First I'm going to do those 2 stitches for my edge, and then I'm going to start the pattern right here. So I take the loop off the peg, and I'm going to untwist that eWrap so that I have enough of a give on this loop to bring it over to the one next to it where I want to do the knit 2 together. Right? Knit 2 together, yarn over. So for that, I'm going to take my yarn and place it over that first peg and the next one, nice and loose. And then I'm going to do my knit 2 together on the second peg. And here we go. On this one, I'm doing them both together just to show you that it matches the name. And now I'm going to the next one where I'm going to again remove the loop and take the twist off of it and take it and place it on the peg next to that one. And now I have 2 loops on that peg. I place my yarn over the peg with a yarn over and the one where I'm going to do the knit 2 together, and you can do these one at a time. And depending on how tight you knit, this is very helpful. It makes it a lot easier. Alright, you repeat the process. Let me help you see it up close. Alright, you finished row 5, and now you're ready for row 6. And for row 6 through 9, you got this. You're just going to knit those rows. Once you finish row 9, row 10 is like deja vu. One Uwrap, one eWrap. When you're ready for row 11, you're then going to do a yarn over, knit 2 together. You've done this one. Alright, so you're finished with your knit section, and now it's time for purls. Knit, and this is the purl. For rows 12 to 15, which are 4 rows, we're only going to use the purl stitch. Of course, with the exception of my edge, which like I said before, are always going to be Uwrap knit stitches, and that's my personal edge. But here we start next with the actual stitch pattern, and we're going to start with a purl stitch. For that, you're going to take your hook from the top, you're going to scoop up the working yarn and create a new loop, take the old loop off, and then you're going to place the new loop back on and pull. And we're going to do the same thing here in this peg. For reasons unbeknown to me, I made a boo-boo, and I left it that way because I want you to see how I go back and fix it. Because hey, sometimes it's a good thing to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Now, this is where you did an eWrap, and it does look kind of odd when you create that new loop. See, that's okay. Just take the old one off, put the new one on, pull, and it's okay. It is a purl stitch, and it's going to look great, and it's what creates that eyelet, right? Those holes in your fabric. All right. Keep going. Like I said, you have to knit 4 rows, rows 12 through 15 of nothing but purl stitches. In my case, at the edge, I'm going to do these 2 knit stitches, and then just continue until you're done with until you're done with your row 15. Next is my boo-boo, an unfinished purl stitch, and here is my fix. Done. Now I can go ahead and continue with my pattern, and so I'm going to knit a purl stitch right here again and continue as if nothing ever happened. Next, we're going to work on row 16, which is a purl 2 together yarn over. It's very similar to what we did before with a little difference. So let me get that knit stitch out of the way, and now let's start with the pattern. On this peg, I need 2 loops in order to accomplish the purl 2 together. So I'm going to need to go here and pick up that loop. So that's where my yarn over goes. I'm going to take the loop off and I'm going to bring it to the right and over the existing loop. So now I have 2 loops. Then I take the working yarn, put it under those 2 loops. With my hook, I'm going to scoop up the working yarn and create a new loop. And now I got to take those 2 old loops off the peg, and I'm going to use my hook to do it because it's a little tight. Put the new loop on the peg and pull. The next peg needs a yarn over right here, and I'm going to need this peg in order to accomplish that because I have to bring the yarn over both of them. And this one needs another loop, so I'm going to this peg and move it over to the right in order to create the purl 2 together. So let me get this loop that's on this peg and move it over to the right on top of the existing loop again so that I can put the yarn over both pegs. So with my hook, I'm going to stretch that loop just a little bit and then pull it, move it from that peg over to the right on top of the existing loop. And now I can take my yarn where the yarn over and the purl 2 together are, and with my hook scoop up the working yarn, create a new loop, take the 2 loops off the peg, and now put the new loop on and pull. Now I have the same issue over here. I got to pull this loop and bring it over in order to do the purl 2 together over here to the right of it. So you have two yarn overs and a purl 2 together, right? That's the way you can accomplish it. There needs to be a way to secure that yarn from the yarn over, and that's how you do it. So I'm going to move this last loop over to the right for my purl 2 together, and the last peg is a yarn over, which is why I desperately need 2 pegs here to the right to secure the yarn over. Alright, now we're on row 17, and 17 through 21 are all just purl rows. All you're going to do is do your edge and then just start a row of purl. It's that simple for these next 5 rows. They're just rows of purl stitches. For row 22, you're going to do a purl 2 together, yarn over, and you guys are almost experts. But let's take a look at that again. Keep in mind that this is the flat version of the stitch pattern, and it's useful for projects such as a scarf. If you're wanting to make a hat, you need this pattern in the round, and that's available on the downloadable PDF of the stitch pattern. For a link, see the description below or visit the website. Alright, so row 22 is your last row. Now all you have to do is repeat rows 1 through 22 as many times as necessary to reach your desired length. Hope you like this pattern as much as I do. I think it's awesome, and it has these really cool little bumps, and it looks great on both sides. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please share this video, and remember that every day is a good day to love with your looms.